Hi, my name is Patrick, and I work for Fund for the Public Interest as a field manager, and I'm doing the second part of my capstone right now, trying to improve the employee retention for the Fund of the Public Interest. Right now, we've been a part of two different organizational campaigns. We have been working with Environment North Carolina and with NC PIRG. And through my experience as a field manager, I've seen a lot of I've seen retention being a very big issue here. A lot of people tend to not be able to stick around for a very long time for various reasons. So I am trying to, keep people working, keep people involved, and hopefully be able to meet the goals of, many of these nonprofits. Um, So the problem that I'm having or that I'm seeing is that some people just aren't able to do the kind of work that we do. I think it is a little bit of an equity problem. I think people come from different backgrounds, and it's important to be able to meet them where they are and be able to um, help the people that maybe aren't quite as suited to being a canvasser off rip so that they can become a good canvasser and continue to stick with the fund. People who are currently being served are people who are, extroverts, people who have no problem speaking to people that they see, I mean, door to door, people with prior speaking experience or are experienced already. Maybe they've done this before at a different nonprofit. People that are just quick on their feet to get ready to go. And the people who are left out are generally people who have no experience talking to people with the public, first-time nonprofit employees, or a lot of the time, people who have other obligations. It's a full-time job. It's very time consuming, sometimes higher than other jobs. And it's very difficult to be able to balance a family or another job or education while you're doing this. And, I'm trying to set up a program so that that can be, allotted for and people can continue to work here. High turnover is actually such a common issue in nonprofits that, a lot of I believe it's like 66% of people in nonprofits fear for their future financially because they are generally not paid very well. But that is one of the issues, and I want to get people involved. Um, so the way that I set up my framework to fix this is with a framework called targeted universalism. Essentially, the idea from this person, Powell, is that we have universal goals, but we target individuals so that we can reach those universal goals uh, all together. So some of those targeted strategies would be to um, have mentorship programs for some of these people, really focus on leadership development, have flexible coaching for people who are trying to balance with different things, like education and family and so on. Regular employee feedback, because this would be a new program and we want to have feedback as we're going. And then also there are quota requirements in a lot of these nonprofits, which I think should be laxer in the, intern period while they're training and learning all of these new techniques on how to do this. And you should loosen those quota requirements for like a set time so that they can really kind of develop themselves as canvassers. Instead of, I mean, they do generally like some of these quotas, if you don't meet them fast enough, you will just be fired because that is just how things are done. It's a grassroots effort, and a lot of nonprofits can't afford to have people who aren't able to meet their expectations. Um, why this framework? Because different employees face different barriers and should have equal opportunities to succeed. Um, you have to understand that there are like a lot of people who come from different backgrounds, and it is, I believe, an equity problem where some people are just more set up to succeed off rip, and we are failing them by not being, or we're failing the people that aren't set up so well by not being able to meet them where they are. And I think we can do that. And I think we can have more people succeed. All right. So this program that I'm hoping to push forward would have the intended impacts would be to have higher employee retention, better onboarding, people coming in with a little bit more understanding of what the job is and the demands of the job, um, lowering the hiring costs by having less people needing to be hired and having stronger advocacy campaigns while also having a lot of our directors and field managers able to focus on developing and creating better canvassers than just having to train new ones. Some possible unintended impacts would be additional time commitment. Field managers and campaign directors may have to a lot more time to training instead of, hiring new people, but I think that it's worth it. Um, Increased implementation cost. You might have more people. There might be you might have to buy some manuals or create a new system of regulations on how to raise these canvassers to be as good as they can be. And then, I mean, the classic resistance to organizational change. Some people like things how they were and will be resistant. Um, some ways to combat that are to push it in slowly, so that it's not just a flip of the switch. Now we're doing something different. You can kind of get that going. You can definitely start from top down, from the directors to the field managers to the canvassers to the people that are just now being trained and kind of, get people on board that way, top down, kind of lead from the front. And then just getting feedback from the people who are actually having to do this the most. Probably the field managers and canvassers are going to be the people who have to change the most. So hearing their feedback will be the most important. Um, so the engagement strategy would be to have field managers that are doing surveys with some of these people as it's going along, having focus groups talking about any issues or any ways that they can improve, or if things are going really well in some aspects, or if things aren't meeting some expectations, how you can do that. Plan meetings with the directors so that you can speak about those problems and really try to, get that going. The canvassers, you could definitely have anonymous surveys in case they feel uncomfortable with some of these changes. You want to be able to address those concerns, but you also don't want them to feel like they'll be pressured because their name is attached to it. Um, Exit interviews, people who are getting fired or will maybe be fired in this period, what we can learn from those are very valuable resources. And then regular feedback sessions, like I've been saying, is just really valuable. The people that we really want to have like running this are the high power people, the executive directors, campaign directors, and field managers. Those people are the ones that have the most to gain and can do the most, as well as some of the lower power but still very interested. Because, the canvassers want to be successful and they want to have, they want to be good at their job and they want to push forward and, they don't want to be fired or they don't want to lose burnout or anything. And the community members and the donors. This ultimately benefits everybody. Um, yeah, I mean, I think those are the people at the front let of this program. Here's the data that I think we should be trying to get in terms of quantitative data, just in turnover rates, employee tenure, retention, the trends and reasons why people are exiting, cost of recruitment, as well as training completion rates. I think those are all quantitative things that you can get numbers associated with them and kind of tell a story that way. And then the qualitative issues or data would just be employee satisfaction, interviews as they're being hired. What are they, experiencing? What's the biggest, change for them? Focus groups and goals that are set during those focus groups and like what we can try to work on, manager interviews and how they feel about this, and then the exit interviews again. Hopefully this over about like uh, 6 months would you'd have success measures with either reduced turnover, higher job satisfaction, um, uh, retention, higher retention, and improved overall engagement. So these are my references. I got a lot of stuff from Powell at the bottom here with their targeted universalism and policy and practice. They're my newest addition to my sources, and I did use ChatGPT to help me kind of put some things together, make it a little bit easier. I did have an infographic earlier that I asked it to help me generate because I thought that that would be really useful and they can make it a lot better than I can. So, thank you so much.